Hello everyone, my name is Brennan Horton. I am the instructor here with Del Mar College Veterans Upward Bound, and today we're doing a workshop on Microsoft Teams. Originally what I had done was record a live demonstration from the workshop. However, there were issues with the recording, both with the video and the audio. So what we're doing today is we're doing an offline demonstration where I'll just walk you through everything we would have walked through before. And with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can join a Teams meeting. Alright, so now you can see that I am in Teams on my desktop. You can see on the left side of the screen I have a couple of buttons: Activity, Chat, Teams, and Calendars. And I am in the Calendars tab right now. You can see on the right side of the screen I have Teams Re-Record, and you can see there's a button on it that says Join. Also, if I click on it, you can see it gives me a couple options to join and edit. I'm going to join this meeting shortly, but before I do, I want to go ahead and let you know this is how you go to join the meeting if it is in your calendar. So if you receive a calendar invite, or if you're the one hosting the meeting, you can join it this way. If you have instead been sent an email with a link to the Teams meeting, you simply click on that link, and either if you click the link or if you press the join button, either way you're going to get this same pop-up here. So with this pop-up, there's a couple things I want you to notice. On the left side of the screen, you can see a preview of my video. You can see below the preview on the left side, you have the camera icon here, and you see there's a little checkbox. So if I click this, it will hide my camera, and if I click it again, it will bring my camera back. Also, you can see in my video, my background is blurred. Also, it's having trouble focusing on my face. But if I click on background filters here, we get a little pop out, and I can change the background. So it'll automatically detect which part of the video is me, and it will put a background behind it. So now you can see here I changed it to a bridge background. I prefer the blur background, so I'm going to leave it as it was, and I will close out of those settings. On the right side here, you can see we have a couple of options. You can see computer audio, so this will allow you to continue hearing your computer audio while you're in your Teams meeting. You generally want to leave that alone. Additionally, under here, you can see under Realtek, it might be different on your end, but this doesn't matter, the Realtek part. What matters here is this microphone button. So the little checkbox here allows you to mute or unmute yourself. So if you want to join a meeting while you're muted, which is generally your best option, so you can check the box so that you're automatically muted, and then when you want to talk, you can unmute yourself. And then finally, you have a volume slider here. This is for your volume for the Teams meeting. So this isn't your microphone volume, this is the volume that you'll hear, so you can adjust how loud you want it to be. There's a couple of other options here, but we don't want to focus too much on those right now, so we'll go ahead and just join the meeting. Alright, after a few seconds we join the meeting, and there's a couple things I want you to notice here. I'm going to walk you through the user interface, and Veronica is here to help me with that. So at the top of the screen you will see where it says Teams Re-Record. That is the title of the meeting. On the left side, at the top left corner, you can see 8 minutes and 11 seconds, and it's counting up. That is the run time of the meeting. On the right side of this same bar, you can see there's a couple of buttons. I have show participants, we have a couple others. I'm going to walk you through each of these. Okay, so the first thing I want you to notice here is the show participants tab. If I click on this button here, I'll get a tab that pops open, and it has a list of everybody that's in the meeting. You can see Veronica is currently has her mic on, so Veronica, if you could make some background noise for me. So you can hear right now I'm trying to talk, but she's clapping, and you don't want to hear that while I'm talking. So I can go ahead as the presenter, I can mute everybody else. So if I click on the mute all button, it will mute her, and I no longer hear that. So clap for me, and we can't hear that. So that's useful in the case where you have background noise, like if somebody's in a noisy room. So as the presenter, you can do that. Alright, we'll get to how Veronica can unmute herself in just a minute. The next thing I want you to notice here is the Show Conversation button. If we click on that, it opens a tab on the right side here. And I can just type in here, I can say hello. And this is a chat. It works very similar to any kind of social media you might have seen before. We have a couple of formatting options. So you have bold, italicize, underline. We can attach files here. We can use emojis and GIFs. So if you've ever used any kind of social media chat app, it should be very similar to what you're used to. Next here we have the raise hand option. If I click on that, it will raise my hand, and you'll notice under the show participants tab, you'll notice there's a notification has popped up. If I click there, you can see I'm the one who raised my hand, so I can see their hand, so I can see who has the question. So as the presenter, what I would do is I'd open the tab to see who had a question, and then I would say, okay, what's your question? And then I would unmute them or let them unmute themselves, and they would ask their question. All right, I will go ahead, now that I've asked my question, I will lower my hand so that goes away. Okay. Next here we have breakout rooms. Now I'm not going to show you breakout rooms. Breakout rooms is a specific feature that's useful in very large meetings. So if you have like 100 people and you want to split those up into smaller groups, you would use breakout rooms. So breakout rooms is when you want to create smaller meetings within a meeting. But typically with our workshops or with what we do, we don't really use that feature. And most of the time you won't use it either. All right, next we have more actions, and we'll come back to this. But now we have here, we can turn our camera on or off. So you'll notice in the bottom right corner you can see a camera, you can see me. If I click on the turn off camera, you can see my camera disappears. I click on it again and my camera will come back. And again, if I just click on it, my camera goes away. Click on it again, my camera comes back. Just like that, we have the mute button. Now, in this case, I'm recording my audio through an external software, so you're going to be able to continue hearing me. But if I mute myself, Veronica, can you hear me right now? No, you're muted. Yeah. Yes, you can hear me. Now if I mute myself, can you hear me? Great. All right. The next option here is to share content. I will come back to that in a minute. And that'll require a little more demonstration. And then finally we have the leave button. Now as the person who's hosting the meeting, I have the leave button, but I also have this little drop down arrow. If I click on the drop down, you can see I have the option to leave or end meeting. Okay. So if I want to end the meeting for everyone, I would choose end meeting instead of leave. Going back over, we can look at the actions. So if we go to more actions, we have a couple of options here. The first one is device settings. So if I click on a device settings, I get a pop out on the right side. You can see it's got a couple of options. We can ignore the audio devices most of the time. What we want to look at is speaker. So speaker, that's where our audio is coming through. In my case, I want to go through my headphones. In your case, you might have a TV or something else that you're listening through. Next, you have your microphone. I'm using my jack mic, which is the mic plugged into my headset. I also have a microphone over here that's a desk-mounted microphone. So maybe if I wanted to switch, I could do that. Then finally I have my camera, and I just have a little webcam set up over here. And you can change your camera. Maybe you have a laptop, so you have a camera built in. Or maybe you have another webcam set up for like a different angle or something. You can do that as well. So that's where you go to change your speaker, microphone, or camera if any of those are not set up correctly. Next we go back to more actions, and we have a couple more options. The next one I want you to note is meeting notes. So when we click on meeting notes, we'll get a little pop-up here, and this is kind of shared notes for the whole meeting. So this is if you take notes and your classmate take notes, you'll both see each other's notes. So this is kind of a useful shared notes tool. If you've seen my Canvas workshop in the past, you'll know that Canvas has a very similar feature. So you can kind of keep track of your notes. That way you don't. You can share your notes, I should say. That's also really useful for if you're having a meeting and you need to have like a meeting minutes. You can keep notes that way. Okay. Next, we have meeting details. If I click on that, we get a pop out here. And there's a lot of information here, but the important thing I want you to note is where it says copy join info. If I click on that, I will get a copyable link that I can give to somebody else if they need to be able to join that same meeting. Okay. Next, down below that, we have a couple of options for our view. So you can see here, by default, it goes to gallery view. So it just kind of tiles our videos together. Below that, we have the large gallery view. So large gallery view is only available when you have 9 or more people sharing their video. So you can have 20 people in a meeting, but if nobody's sharing their video, this option won't be available. So you need to have 9 people or more sharing video, and then you can do a large gallery, and it'll just tile the people as best as it can. Below that, you have together mode. This is a way for you to take the outline of the people. So it will knock out the background, and it'll just take your face and your shoulders, and it'll put everybody in chairs, and it's just kind of it's kind of for fun, but it's almost like a way you can take a group picture. Below that, you have focus. Now, I'm the one presenting, but if in Veronica's case, maybe she could click on the focus button, and it would then make my screen, the one that I'm sharing, it would make it the focus of the video. Now, I'm not currently sharing a screen, but if I were sharing a screen, you would be able to focus on that. Next, we have full screen mode. You can already tell I've made Microsoft Teams already full screen, but if I click on this, you'll see the top bar where it says Teams re-record goes away, so we get just a little bit more screen real estate. Next, we have here we have apply background effects. If I click on that again, that will once again pop out the same options, so we can change our screen backgrounds. Again, if I change my background to the bridge here, and I click apply, you can see I now have the bridge in the background. Or if I go back to blur, I can do that as well. Next, in more actions, we have the start recording button. So we can start a recording of the meeting. If you need to take a recording, you can do that. This is true for the person hosting the meeting as well as anybody in the meeting itself, though that's an option that you can turn off if you don't want other people recording your meeting. And then finally, you have turn off incoming video. So in the case that you have a slow internet connection, so maybe you have a limited bandwidth for your computer, you can turn off incoming video. So here, if I click on that, you can see Veronica's video goes away. So we can no longer see Veronica. One other feature here, you have the turn on live captions. So if I click on turn on live captions, I'll give it a second to update. Great. So now you can see on the bottom of the screen, it is creating live captions based on the words I'm saying. And Microsoft Teams is actually very good at creating live captions. So these, as they're coming out, you can see they're pretty accurate. Okay. Now I want to show you the share content. So if I click on share content here, I will get a pop-up on the bottom of the screen. It's going to have a couple different options. In the top left of the pop-up, you can see the include computer sound option. So it's disabled by default, and what that will do is it will prevent you from hearing background noises. Like if I have my notifications on, you wouldn't hear if I got an email noise, or if I were trying to listen to music in the background. You don't want, when I start sharing my screen, you don't all want to hear my music, but if I turn it on, you'll be able to hear my background noise. So that's, for example, if you have a YouTube video and you want to share it with everyone. If you turn this off, they'll be able to see the video but not hear it. If you turn it on, they'll be able to see and hear the video. Next, we have the desktop tab here. So the desktop, this will, if we select this, it will share our entire screen, and usually that's what you want to do. But sometimes you only want to share just one window. So here we can see I've got my Teams meeting here, I've got my PowerPoint, I've got a file explorer, I have my Outlook calendar, my recording software, and my Teams calendar. So I've got a bunch of different options here. I can select and I can share only that one program. Now in my case, I'm going to be showing you a couple of different programs, so I would prefer to use the desktop. Also, we have Whiteboard. So Whiteboard allows us to, if we have like a tablet that you can write on, you can click on Whiteboard and that'll allow you to write on the screen. And then finally you have PowerPoint, so you can choose between recent PowerPoints that you've used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select desktop. Okay. And now when I select desktop, you can see a red border fills the edge of the screen. So there's a red border along the edge of the screen, and that will be true no matter which program I bring up to the front. So if I go to my Teams calendar here, you can see the red border is still around the edge of the video. Okay. Also, you may have noticed when I hovered my mouse to the top of the screen, a little box pops up. This is a quick menu. If we click on the top of the right side, this button here pins that quick menu, so it stays up. By default, if we unclick it, it will hide itself when we move away. So if you want it to stay up there, instead of having to move your mouse to the top of the screen and have it pop up, you can click on the pin. Next, we can stop presenting by clicking on the Stop Presenting button. And then we can also enable or disable our computer sounds by clicking on the button here. Also, I can give control if I want somebody else to present, so I can click on here and I can ask for Veronica to control. If I go back to Teams itself, here you can see within Teams, the sharing button has changed from a box with an arrow pointing up to a box with an X on it. If I click on that X, it will stop screen sharing. Alright, the next thing I wanted to talk about is how you can go about creating a meeting for Teams. Now, you would think the best way to create a meeting in Teams would be to go to your Microsoft Teams and create a meeting there. So I've gone ahead and pulled up my calendar for Teams, and I want to click in here, and I'm going to try and create a meeting here, and we'll call this test 1, and I will save that. So what that has done is it has simply filled out a block in time on my calendar. It has not created a meeting. It's a little anti-intuitive, but the best way to create a Teams meeting is actually to use Microsoft Outlook. I'll show you that in just a second. But for those of you who are Del Mar students and you have Microsoft Teams through Del Mar, you also will have access to Microsoft Outlook. So simply open up Outlook and go to Outlook, and inside of there we will also go to the calendar. I'm going to pull up these calendars side by side. And in Outlook, I just want to click in, just like I did in Teams. I click into a spot here, but at the top of the screen, you'll notice I have a couple of options. So you see I have New Appointment, New Meeting, Meet Now, and New Teams Meeting. So I want to click on New Teams Meeting. When I do that, it creates a new meeting here, and I can change the title again. We'll say Test 2. And you'll see here at the bottom in the meeting text, you can see it has automatically generated a link. So if I hover over it, it shows me the actual link as well. But I can just copy that and paste that, and that will be the link I send out maybe in my email when I'm advertising for the next workshop. If you need to use Teams to create a meeting between your classmates, you can do it this way as well. Also, where it says required and optional, you can click in there and you can type out emails that you would like to send the meeting invitation to. So you can send this directly. And just like with a normal email, we can type hello all, and then you type out your email just like normal. So you would type out a normal email, and then this would follow at the end there. The last thing I want to show you all is what the interface looks like on the phone. So I've taken a couple of screenshots from the phone app, and right now I'm on the phone app, and you can see on the bottom of the screen we have, just like in the Teams on the computer, we have activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calls. So we've got a lot of the same options we did on the computer. I've gone ahead and gone to the calendar tab, just like I did on my computer to join the meeting. And I can click on the meeting that I want to join and click join. Okay. Again, on the phone, if you received an email and you don't have a direct link to the meeting, if it's not on your Teams already, you can just go to your email and you can click on the link, and that will take you to the meeting as well. Now, let's say you're already on your computer, but you need to step away. So one case might be you are on your computer and you need to step away to get a glass of water. So you can actually just pull up Teams on your phone, click add this device, and you will then be able to join Teams on the go. So you just get on your phone, walk in the other room, get a glass of water, walk back, and then leave Teams on your phone and just go back to your computer. But let's say you're on your desktop, your computer, but then you need to move into the other room. And in that case, you're going to use your laptop or your phone or whatever. So in that case, you would click transfer to this device because you're done using it on your computer. So that's kind of an explanation of the two different options here. So I'm going to choose add this device. And here you can see myself. I'm looking down. I'm on my phone, and this is the video you see is from my computer. Okay. Now if I tap on the screen, we get options will pop up. So they're hidden by default. First off, you can see in the bottom left corner, you can see there is a camera with an X through it. So that's because my camera is not showing on my phone. Next to that, we have the mute button, and I'm currently muted, so I'm not being able to talk through my phone. Next to that, we have the volume slider, and you can see the volume with the X means it's currently muted as well. So that means there's no sound coming out of my phone from the meeting. So you can adjust all of those here. Next, we have the ellipses, which is the more actions button. It works just like before. There's a couple of different options. There's a couple things that are missing. Next to that is the leave call button. It looks just like you're hanging up a phone, and that's how you leave the call. In the top right corner, you have the chat icon. So if you click on that chat icon, it will pop up a chat, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. And finally, you have the participants button, which is just like the one on the computer, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So first, I want to click on the more actions button, the little ellipses next to the hang up button, and that brings me this list of options. A lot of these are very similar to what you had before. The only difference is, again, you will not be able to change your background on the phone. So you won't be able to change it to a blurred background or whatever. Okay. Going back here, now we will click on the two icons in the top right corner, so the chat and the participants button. So if I click on the chat button, here we'll be brought to, again, it looks very similar to what we had on the desktop. And then we come over here and we have the participants tab, very similar again to what you have on the desktop. Alright, and that is it for today. I hope that this workshop has been helpful for you all and that you now have all become experts in Microsoft Teams. If you have any further questions for us all, you can reach out to me directly at bhorton8@delmar.edu if you want to set up further computer instruction or mathematics instruction, or you can reach out to all of us at vub@delmar.edu or at the telephone number there on the screen, 361-857-4390, and you can call or text that number. Thank you all and have a good weekend.